Before I begin, I want to say something some may find odd. One of the reasons the MCU worked for as long as it did is that the heroes were not naive. They did not view the world in black and white. When it was clear a threat needed a lethal response, said response was given. Steve Rogers did not look at Hydra agents and tell his men, just try to knock them out. Tony Stark did not look at a clearly dangerous killer in high-tech armor who had just murdered several SHIELD agents and think, maybe there's a peaceful solution. Inner Gang is supposed to be made up of extremely violent, remorseless criminals. These are not misunderstood troublemakers. They are, in fact, international terrorists. I know DC likes its heroes non-lethal, but there is a limit. In this movie, Hawkman has a rather annoying inability to shut up about not killing. Please remember, these aren't mentally unstable metahumans or accidental monsters that would need medical or psychological help. They chose to be oppressors, thieves, murderers, and likely far, far worse. It seems clear they are not even connected to the legitimate government of Kahndaq. If Kahndaq even has a legitimate government in this world. It's not clear, and frankly I don't get how that could be the case, considering the infrastructure that exists within its city. Alright, I'll start with the cons first. There is a character in this movie who is played by a 15-year-old, while this part was clearly written for someone much younger. His actions do not make any sense if he's supposed to be 15, as he is dangerously reckless, even when it involves interactions with terrorists. Yes, I know 15 is not a good age for smart decisions, however, his actions more closely fit an 11 or 12-year-old. I have already complained about Hawkman in the intro, so I'll only say this. There isn't much to his character other than a forced friendship with a much older and wiser character. We do not know much about their past, so we can't sympathize with what would have otherwise been a touching friendship. Atom Smasher and Vortex are not characters. They're only in this movie to fill out the roster and to flirt awkwardly, and the movie doesn't even do that well, unless I'm reading way too much into their already anemic interactions. I swear there is more slow motion in this movie than was in the first three seasons of The Flash. While some scenes with it make sense, many of them did not require it and would have been more impressive without it or with some other method of showcasing super speed. In case you haven't seen the movie, I won't spoil it, but the story is one of the simplest I have ever seen. There is a twist villain in this movie so obvious, I'm surprised the trailers didn't accidentally reveal it. The Rock being mopey is just weird. The man is a walking shot of charisma and likability, and in this movie he's teetered on the brink of being a full emo. The idea that a gang of international terrorists would be allowed to just conquer a country and mine incredibly precious and dangerous resources is absurd in a world full of superheroes. This is especially true considering the Justice Society's stated goal in the film. The CGI can be a bit, well, bad at times. Why? Why is it always a damn sky portal? If Amanda Waller were a real person, I would throw her off the Hoover Dam and no jury in the frickin' world would convict me. Alright, any other cons are mostly little nitpicks, so moving on to the pros. The Rock as Adam. While his mopiness was weird, he still managed to be a very good choice, at least for this iteration of the character. Dr. Fate. Pierce Brosnan was an odd choice, but played the character with a good mix of dignity and humor. I especially like the bit where Adam is beating the tar out of Hawkman's annoying beak, and Kent is just sitting there and watching, and making the occasional comment. There is a twist involving Teth Adam himself that I thought was rather well executed, even if the CGI involved was a bit yikes. There was absolutely no romantic or sexual tension between Adam and the female lead, which I am grateful for. You don't need it in every film, Hollywood. This movie was 95% action, which I guess can either be a very good thing or a very bad thing, depending on your mood, but I was in the mood for action on my first watch, so it's going in the pros. The abilities of each superhuman was represented in a visually pleasing manner, especially Vortex's wind. Not sure if that was non-diegetic or not, but still cool looking either way. Henry Cavill. My final thoughts. If you're in the mood for a popcorn action romp, this will probably scratch that itch. If you're looking for a really good, well thought out story, this is likely simply going to disappoint you. I'd give this about a 6 out of 10 because it was a fun popcorn flick, but not much more.